All right, welcome to the Explainer. Today we are digging into some pretty wild code. Code that's kind of making trust obsolete, or at least the way we've always thought about it. Yeah, we're talking about smart contracts, these automated deal makers of the digital world. So let's get right into it.
Okay, so it really all boils down to this one fundamental question. When you're buying something or selling a service or just making any kind of deal online, there's always that little leap of faith, right? How can you be sure the other person is going to hold up their end of the bargain without getting some expensive middlemen involved? Well, that is the exact problem smart contracts were designed to solve.
So, okay, what are smart contracts exactly? Forget everything you know about paper and handshakes. This is a totally new set of rules for making agreements in the digital world. Let's break it down.
Okay, at its heart, this is the definition. A smart contract isn't really a legal document in the traditional sense. It's a program. It's a piece of code that lives on a blockchain, which is just a shared, unchangeable digital ledger. And this code automatically carries out an agreement as soon as certain conditions are met. The key here? No human intervention is needed. At all.
The absolute best way to wrap your head around this is to think of a classic vending machine. It's super simple, right? You put in your money and you get your snack. There's no negotiation, no cashier to deal with. The rules are just built in, and they are unbreakable. If you pay, then you get your item. Smart contracts take that exact same unstoppable logic and apply it to, well, pretty much anything, from buying a car to managing complex investments.
And that simple vending machine logic, it really highlights the huge difference compared to how we've always done things. Traditional contracts are a mess of lawyers, banks, and paperwork. They're slow, they're expensive. Smart contracts, they just cut right through all of that noise. They are designed from the ground up to be fast, cheap, and totally transparent. All because the rules are just plain, verifiable code.
All right, so the concept is pretty clear. But how does a smart contract actually go from being just an idea to a real binding automated action? Let's trace its journey from the first line of code all the way to execution. Well, it basically happens in 4 key stages. First up, developers write the contract's logic. All the rules, the conditions, the if this, then that stuff, into code. Second, that code gets deployed onto a blockchain. It gets its own unique address and poof, it's live. Third, as soon as those predefined conditions are met, like, say, a payment is received or a specific deadline passes, the contract just executes automatically. And finally, the result of that execution is recorded permanently and transparently right there on the blockchain for anyone to see. And here's the thing. This is probably the most important and, frankly, the most dangerous feature of all. Immutability. Once a contract is live on the blockchain, its code is set in stone. It cannot be changed. Not by anyone, not ever. This is what makes it completely tamper-proof, which is fantastic for building trust. But, as we're about to see, it's also a massive risk. Okay, so we have automated, unchangeable code. So what? Why does that even matter? Well, let's take a look at the real-world impact and the kinds of benefits this technology is starting to unlock. The benefits here are pretty significant. For one, they can completely eliminate the need for middlemen like banks or lawyers, which, as you can imagine, drastically cuts down on costs and speeds everything up. And because every single thing is recorded on a transparent blockchain, trust is just built right into the system. You don't have to trust a person, you just trust the code. Plus, by automating everything, you pretty much get rid of the risk of human error. And look, this isn't just theoretical stuff, it's happening right now. Take finance, for example. Smart contracts are the engines behind DeFi, or decentralized finance. It's basically banking without the banks. They make things possible that were pure science fiction before, like flash loans, where millions can be borrowed and paid back in the blink of an eye, all governed by code. In supply chains, they're used to track goods from the factory all the way to the store, guaranteeing they're authentic. And people are experimenting with them for everything from transparent voting systems to one-of-a-kind items in video games. But it is definitely not a perfect system. You know the old saying, with great power comes great responsibility? And believe me, smart contracts have some very, very real risks that we absolutely need to talk about. This quote really gets right to the heart of the problem. Because the code is the final word, it's law, and it executes no matter what. A single bug or a tiny vulnerability can lead to, well, catastrophic consequences. And really, the seriousness of these challenges cannot be overstated. A A single bug in a smart contract isn't just an annoyance. It can literally drain millions of dollars in a matter of seconds. And that whole immutability thing we mentioned, that's the double-edged sword. Once flawed code is out there, it's almost impossible to fix. This right here is why security audits are absolutely 100% non-negotiable in the world of smart contracts.
So when you balance this massive potential against these incredibly serious risks, where is all of this headed? What does an automated future built on top of this technology actually look like? Ultimately, what smart contracts really are is a new tool for building trust. They allow us to create systems where we don't need to rely on a central authority to enforce the rules. The code does it for us. And that's the fundamental idea behind what a lot of people call Web3, this vision of a more decentralized, user-owned internet.
And that brings us to a really powerful conclusion. Smart contracts are so much more than just a clever piece of programming. They truly represent a fundamental shift in how we establish and maintain trust in a world that's becoming more digital and more decentralized every single day.
So I'll leave you with this question to chew on. If we can automate our agreements, everything from the simplest transaction to the most complex financial contracts, what other systems in our world that are built on trust are ready to be completely transformed? What part of our world is going to be automated next?